So today on AHS podcast, I guess is what we can call this. We are going to discuss movies and how they have changed over the years.
That's right. My
All
name
right,
is Blake Beverage.
and I'm Ethan Dunlap. Here we go.
All right, start us out.
So, first off, have you noticed the change of movies?
Ethan, I have definitely noticed a change in movies. From the start of movies, we can probably date it back to early 1980s, probably. I think that's
Yeah,
when color movies started. But you would see these different movies kind of pop up. You had Star Wars that came out a couple of years later, but you had these Cinderella, these animated movies, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. You had all these different movies, and they were all fresh, brand new, really well written. I know for me, Peter Pan, like the story of that is insanely well written,
hmm
deep, like psychological dive into the human psyche. But now it's kind of like we just have repeats. We have our live actions where it's, oh, we have Aladdin, and I love the live action Aladdin, but it's not really doing anything new. It's not sparking anything. It's just putting a real face in front of an animated movie. So I've definitely noticed that. And it's definitely been a sad thing to see, really.
I couldn't agree more on that. I mean, back in like what early '70s through early 2000s, really,
Mm-hmm.
that was a time of just pure like creativity. Like that was like the wild west of movies. You
Mm-hmm.
would see things range from this genre to the other, and they were all great. No matter what they chose to do, everything was unique. It was almost like entering in that new world. They were able to like immerse you in their own story, and I just don't feel like we get that same effect now anymore because it's changed into a thing of instead of originals and just pure creativity, now we are entering kind of a sequel remakes. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird.
I,
And not to say that these sequels or remakes are bad. A lot of them are good. Even franchise. I mean, look at Marvel. Like
mm-hmm.
those movies are great,
That is.
but still, they're kind of it has been affecting these newer, smaller movies and kind of drowning them out.
That's definitely true. We have like a really oversaturated market, I would say, because you can look at, um, like Wolf of Wall Street's coming to mind. Tropic Thunder was good. That's a bit older, but that was a really good movie.
hmm
And there have definitely been some good originals out there, but definitely feels like with Disney and some of the Universal and Fox movies, it's like all these big brands, all of them. What made them special was their originality and their drive and their passion to try new things and test out these new ideas. And now it's kind of like they've forsaken their idea. They've forgotten like where they started off, and they want to play it safe. They don't want to risk it. They don't want to put a lot of money into something where it might not bring it back. They just want to put out these classics, these rebranded classics, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good point on studios. Is I think that that's really like a big thing. Is we don't really see small upcoming creators anymore like we used to, where you would see like a new name directing or writing a film or movie just all the time. Now you kind of see the same faces here and there on the same projects, and that mostly has to do with the studios. I think with picking safer projects, picking things that are guaranteed to break even,
Mm-hmm.
and if it goes under profit, it won't be awful, and they just can go, well, won't do that again. So they're kind of drowning out this new age of people trying
Mm-hmm.
to kind of break that, more like break the door open.
That's definitely true. And like, I mean, you had like George Lucas, and you had
hmm
other big time writers and actors.
Oh yeah, they were all nobodies, and then they made their vision
The
essentially, and they
who was
broke out.
the Rocky guy? Um,
Um,
I'm blanking on his name, but that's what he was. He was a nobody who
the
he wrote
director
his
or
own.
actor?
Both. He directed and acted and wrote the whole thing,
Oh,
and he started off and he did that, and like he was this no name, no guy. No one wanted to hire him because he didn't really sound that great for what he all the other roles that were out there. So he said, "All right, I'm gonna write my own movie." So that's what he did, and he was able to get his job, and now he's big and famous, and everyone loves him. But you don't really see that as much now because you go with these safer guys, or you go with these guys, or a lot of it you can kind of see it with like Zack Snyder and stuff like that. You see this amazing director who he did this really really well movie, but then the studio says, "All right, I see your idea. we're not going to do that. It's too
Yeah.
too long. No one's going to like that. We're not going to do it.
You're
And
breaking
so-
the formula, essentially.
Exactly. And so it's the studios that are really stifling this, even when you have these directors that are trying to do new things.
Hmm. That's a good point. There definitely has been sort of a formula that's been adapted and kind of written down to the like point on paper,
Mm-hmm.
and like if you try to stray away from it, you're gonna get shut down pretty fast. Now, on that note, do you think that there will ever be a comeback? Because I feel like there might be one. So like for instance, all the Marvel and DC, like all these franchise movies,
Mm-hmm.
how much more can people really go? Ooh, can't wait for the next one. Because there will be always be people going, ooh, can't wait for the next one. But will it ever hit that end game level, just breaking box office numbers like it used to? I don't think so. I think that it's on the downhill right now. That people are gonna get pretty sick of that formula pretty quick. Now there will be movies and sequels that will definitely have people hyped and get
Mhm.
excited. Like take the new Spider-Man for example. Everyone's
Yeah,
gonna go
that's
see
what I was
that.
about to say. I think Marvel, while they're one that kind of fits into that, they're going to be the exception.
Mhm.
I think a clear example of it is the Transformers. Is you see the first Transformer and how it broke back up, like it was such a great movie, and then the fourth one did really well, but that had a
Mhm.
lot to do with their foreign sales. But then like the fifth one, it was just a bomb in the box office, and it's just because it was the same old thing over and
Same
over and
thing.
over
Mhm.
again, and it was just a tired trope by that point, and people didn't really see it. So that will definitely still happen. Not so much with Marvel though. Marvel's gonna probably
Yeah.
keep it for a couple more years, just because people have really grown attached to these characters and they want to see where they're gonna go.
That's a good point. Ooh, on that note, streaming. So that begs the
Yes.
question: movies, kind of not movies, but how they approach it with their budget and the style.
Mhm.
That's been breaking out on the TV recently. I wonder how much of their interest or their priorities will shift over the years.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I've not been a huge fan of the
Mhm.
change of streaming, just because I mean, I was at Endgame opening night,
Mhm.
and I got to sit there in the front row with a buddy of mine, and I paid for both of ours because I was like, I want to go see this, and I think this would be really cool. And so we went and saw it opening night for Endgame, and the whole place was crazy. We were
Oh, I
at the
bet.
Carnival Cinema, and so it was just insane. And it's like, and then I went the next day with my family to go see it opening day, and then I saw it the week later. And so every single time I saw it, it was such a unique experience, and it was like really cool to see that. Now though, I don't think you can really get that with streaming.
That's a
Like,
good point. Experience. That's
mhm.
kind of gone. You don't really have that.
When you were doing that at a theater, it was like all these random people, and it was just like everyone's coming together because we love this movie, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But now it's like you look at it, and it's just like if I had streamed in game, I would not have had the same just
Oh, not even
going
close.
crazy when Captain America pulled up Mjolnir or any of the stuff, and when none of that would have hit nearly as well as it did if it had not been opening night at Endgame or the day after even.
Yeah, it would have been a thing like, ooh, that's cool. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have been like that mind-breaking experience that gave everyone what they were waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you for listening to the AHS podcast on our opinions on movies. This has been Ethan Dunlap and
This is Blake Beverage, and thank you for tuning in. If you want, you can go check out my podcast that I produced and wrote with Christian Castellano for the Leadership for Students podcast. That will also be on the AHS Tiger Life page or YouTube or whatever platform we're putting it out on. So you can come hear me again if you want to on that podcast.
yeah, definitely go check that out. All right, everyone, thank you for listening.